We've got Iain White here, estate agency guru, an all-round top chap. Talk to me about how Australians do estate agency, because on the previous video we were talking about how UK estate agency has changed, or will probably change, more towards the Australian model or the American model?
I personally would think it would go more towards the Australian model. Their legal system is more aligned to ours. I think their persona as a consumer base is more aligned to ours, and the workforce thinks a little bit more like we do.
Yes.
So how do they work? I mean, there are two very distinct models in Australia. One is just a simple franchise, high street premises, lots of them, and they are franchised. I mean, that's one.
A bit like your Martin & Co's and Belvoirs.
Yeah, identical. I don't know the legal structure, but on the outside it looks pretty much the same, branch after branch, where the principal in the branch is the franchise holder. They employ everybody in that branch. That's potentially one option, and obviously we're seeing the expansion of brands like Martin & Co and Belvoir, so I don't see that necessarily stopping anytime soon. The other model is very, very similar, but where the premises are not high street premises. So they have large hubs, if you like, in and around large cities.
Is this umbrella license system that we were talking about in the previous video?
Yes, yeah, so they're very, very big brands like McGrath, Marshall White in Melbourne are a big brand, Jellis Craig. So they in effect supply all the marketing material, they supply all the cover, they supply the places to work from, and within each central hub there is the equivalent of about UK 6 office coverage.
Right, so what do they get? Like a quarter of the fee, half the fee for the umbrella organisation, or is that dependent on whoever's?
It depends on whoever the head of the.
But roughly?
70-30 would be about the norm.
30 going to the umbrella organisation?
30% going to the umbrella organisation, 70% going to the agent.
So in this like office, you've almost got 6 principals who are like the main people, and are they geographically held back, or can they go anywhere?
They can go anywhere, so they do compete with one another, and it's led by the customer's desire. If the customer has a relationship with one particular agent, regardless of where that agent may or may not typically trade, the client and the agent are free to do business. If the property comes on the market to let or sell, typically it has to be available to all of the agent base, and then the commissions are split.
So the 70% that goes to the licensee, is there like an agreed split that whoever puts it on the market gets a certain amount of the fee, and whoever sells it or lets it gets a certain amount?
So the person who lists it will always get a percentage of the fee, because they're the person who's brought the property to market for sale or for let. And then the agent that sells it, who 9 times out of 10 will be part of the pod that listed it.
Yes.
But often isn't, and then there'll be some sort of internal split which will vary even down as property by property.
So you could have one lister in one pod listing it, and like a sales negotiator selling it in another pod. So that's the advantage of being an umbrella organisation.
Yeah, potentially. You've got to remember that particularly Melbourne, which is the market I have most experience of, a very high percentage. Yes, I've got a brother there, and it's a good way of getting out to see him for free.
You must have so many air miles. Can you lend me some? Anyway, go on, sorry.
Yes, I've got loads of air miles. So the agents tend to. I've completely lost track of what we were talking about there.
We were talking about how the fees get split.
Yes, I mean, I don't know the inner workings of how that does. I mean, typically speaking, the agent that lists it will also be the agent that sells it, because a very high percentage of properties in Melbourne in particular, they're sold by auction.
Yes.
So the auctioneer has to be paid out of the fee, and the auctioneer is supplied by the parent brand. And some of these auctioneer guys are unbelievable characters. They become personalities in their own.
Well, you've got Tom Panos is a guy that comes to mind. Is there any other stars out there apart from Tom? Is there anyone that can match Tom in his?
I don't think there's anybody as famous as Tom, but certainly there are some that would have very, very good success rates and complete.
So how do you think that will actually work in the UK? Do you think that will start in the big cities? Or in towns? Because I mean, in a small town you can't have a pod, or could you have a pod?
Yes, I think you can. I mean, I don't think it matters whether it's a city or a town. It's creating an environment where you can recruit the best talent.
Because that's the killer, isn't it? That's the thing that makes or breaks.
Yes, I mean, if you asked me to determine between why some businesses are successful and some businesses aren't, it's never their charging point, it's never the location they're in. One of the massive building blocks is just the calibre of the people in it, particularly the people leading it.
Because you are in recruitment itself, so you've got a particular insight. What do you think are the biggest strengths and the biggest weaknesses of UK estate agents today? And I'm talking about the senior valuers and the managers. What do you think they're good at compared to the rest of the world, and what do you think they could do a lot better at?